Happy Thursday thoughts. Today I want to share something with you that kind of hit me really between the eyes this week. I was listening to a talk by Candace Owens, and she is just this marvelously intelligent orator, a young woman in her late 20s, a Black woman, and she was speaking to Liberty University. And so she asked the students, please raise your hands if you have suffered, if you have had hard times in your life. And every hand went up. Every hand went up. Then she asked the second question. She said, how many of you feel like victims? No hands went up. It was interesting because she said, as a Black woman, she spent a lot of time feeling like a victim. She had some very unkind things done to her in high school. And she proceeded to play, she said, the victim role. She just acted out because she felt like a victim, like she had the right to act out. She needed to act out. It was the way to handle things, her hurts and her wounds. And one day she woke up and she realized, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be a victim. It's not getting me anywhere to be a victim. And I began to think about my own life and some of my friends' lives, that we have not had some good things happen to us. We've had some difficult times, some times that I would rather have not had in my life. And I realized that deep inside, I feel like a victim. And that sometimes I make choices based on feeling like a victim. And as I thought about it, I thought, oh, I have this friend or this situation or that family member. We kind of act like victims. And a victim is defined as a person who is an unfortunate person and they suffer from adverse circumstances. Well, that describes most of us. It's a person tricked or swindled, betrayed or abused is a person who's a victim. So I guess it depends on what we do with that. Then I looked up a whole bunch of verses on revenge, because typically if you are feeling like a victim, you would love to have some revenge. And God says, leave the revenge up to me. He says, revenge, if you are bent on revenge, then jealousy will arouse. It might be sweet at first, but then it'll turn sour. And then it always is accompanied by malice, which is something that Ephesians just says, put away malice. And I'm just wondering what it would take for me, for all of us, to look in our hearts and say, yep, sometimes I feel like a victim. I feel sorry for myself. I eat what I shouldn't. I waste time that I shouldn't because I feel like a victim. And I'm just wondering what it's going to take for me to move on. Candace said she woke up one morning and she just said, what am I doing? Being a victim accomplishes nothing. And then she began to start living, she said, and no longer was a victim. She said, if you're a victim, like Henry Cloud says, if you always blame, you'll always stay the same. As a victim, you tend to blame. And so you'll always stay the same. You can't move on until you acknowledge, yes, I've been hurt. Yes, I've had some circumstances that were not good happen. But you know what? No one wins when I play the victim role. No one wins. I don't win. God doesn't win. And certainly, I don't do anything good to the person who hurt me. It's time for me to forgive. It's time for me to move on. It's time for me to let go of this stuff that's down in my roots, this victim mentality, you could call it. Because sometimes we make choices that are not wise because we have that victim mentality. So I just wanted to share with you the Psalms, Leviticus, they're full of verses that talk about not staying in that role as a victim. So that's my prayer for us today, is that we can really realize it and we can move on. Happy Thursday Thoughts. See you next week.